Sweaty.
Yeah, you're looking a little sweaty. So, how much time does someone need in order to get the benefits of acclimatisation?
Well, it's difficult to give a precise answer to that because there is huge individual variation. And I think at the outset, I need to say that the way people respond to exercising in the heat varies, and it's not necessarily linked to their quality as an athlete. So you could have an international standard athlete who simply doesn't acclimatise well to running in hot weather.
Sure.
There's nothing against them, it's an individual variation, no one knows why. And similarly, you could have a back of the packer who runs well in heat.
Sure.
Again, we don't know why. Similar sort of thing happens with high altitude.
Yes.
It's not linked to physical and athletic talent, whether or not you adapt well to high altitudes.
Sure.
However, everyone can benefit to some extent by being heat prepared.
Sure.
So even the person that doesn't perform well in heat can improve with the way he feels by doing some heat preparation.
Right.
So regarding how much time you need to spend, I would say as a board, I'd say there's two ways to look at it. Number one, if you really are pressed for time and literally don't have much time to do it, even 2 or 3 sessions is worth doing. Even 1 session is worth doing.
Right.
Not because you'll get fully heat acclimatised, you won't, but you get what I call heat experience.
Sure.
You just get used to feeling very hot. And you might say, well, what's the point of that? Well, actually, that is quite a good point, because mentally the brain gets used to feeling hot, the body gets used to feeling hot, even if it's only for 1 or 2 sessions.
Yeah.
And I found that is a valuable experience, rather than feeling hot for the first time at sort of mile 15 in the marathon, where you're trying to hit personal targets or do a personal best.
Yeah.
So if you're short of time, say to yourself, right, I'll get some heat experience and I'll do, say, 1 or 2 or 3 sessions in the sauna, 30 minutes. If it's too hot, pop out.
Yeah.
Ice water on your head, quick drink of water, back in again.
Right.
That's number one. Number two, if you've got a bit more time, because you're spending less time on training, then try and get between 6 and 9 sessions in. So say 3 sessions a week for 3 weeks. Obviously don't do it sort of within 3 days of the race.
That's one of the things.
Because obviously you are sweating out a lot of, I mean, I'm dripping with sweat now.
Yeah.
And I've turned the thing off a few minutes ago. So yeah, you are partially dehydrating yourself. The fluid's very quickly replaced with just a good drink or something when you go inside.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't recommend doing it within 3 or 4 days of the race. There's no need. There's no point.
To get that across again, you really don't want to be doing it the night before a race because you've got to your hotel and they've got a sauna suite there.
No, definitely not. No, it's too late. And also, as I say, you need to recover from it. It is a form of stress on the body.
Yeah.
You have to accept it is another form of stress, and you don't want that just literally before a race. No.
Yeah. Right. So, about the effectiveness of heat training. I mean, obviously you're convinced, but have you got any evidence, if you like, from your own performance? Have you run in any hot races where you feel this has helped?
Well, yes. Looking at the extreme end, I mean, I ran in the Badwater, the world's hottest race, the Badwater Ultramarathon in 1996, and I did, I think, 12 sessions of heat training. Yeah. And 11 of them were sitting in here. And the other 2, the first one and the last one, was in a public sauna. And I was able to feel the difference the sessions in this box had made.
Sure. Yeah.
And the end result was I did a good race, finished it in reasonable condition. The temperature when I did the race, for the first 7 hours, it was 54 degrees centigrade.
Sure.
For the first 7 hours through Death Valley. When you go up into the mountains, it does cool off a bit. Yeah. But it's still pretty hot, and it's very, very windy as well. And some people find that even worse. It's like having the heat on the car turned up to full in the middle of summer and blowing hard into your face. Right. It's like a red hot wind burning into you. And yeah, I coped with that, and yet I'm living in let's be kind, a temperate climate in the Orkney Islands. I think the greatest temperature ever recorded here in history was 25 degrees. Yeah. So to go and perform well and to do a men's British best performance of 31 hours something, to me, then that's enough to tell me it's working. But apart from that, in more normal environments, for example, when I did my last 6-day race in 2008 in Ham in Germany, I did a personal best of 532 miles. It was a Scottish track record as well. And a British age group record. And 4 of those days were over 30 degrees. Right. It was in July. and I performed well. I was able to keep working hard, and so to me, that's all the evidence I need.
That seems fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's an awful lot of people who maybe they're competing in something like the London or the New York marathons, and they flake out due to the heat.
Yes, well, I mean, that's one of the reasons I wanted to do this quick talk, was because I've been involved now in ultra running for 17 years.
Yeah.
And every single year you hear the same excuses trotted out time and time again, from the best to the worst runners. I say it's just as bad. The best runners are saying it as well. Oh, it was too hot, or I didn't realise it was going to be hot, or I would have been fine, but it was too hot on the day. And all the time I'm kicking the screen, thinking, oh, why didn't you at least try and prepare for the heat? It's not that unusual to get a hot day in April or to get a hot day in July.
Yeah.
It should all be part of the preparation.
And a lot easier to train for than, say, training at altitude.
Well, definitely. They're all trotting off going to Kenya on altitude training camps. And quite a lot of that running is not done in the hottest part of the day. They're running early in the morning, and then late afternoon they're deliberately avoiding the hot heat of the day. So that's not heat training, it's altitude training.
Right.
And that doesn't prepare you for running in hot climates. You have to just get hot, I'm afraid.
Fair enough. Okay, and so we've talked about some of the advantages, some of the reasons for doing this. Are there any drawbacks, any disadvantages, anything that can go wrong, anything that should be avoided?
Well, I think, fair question. As we've mentioned, don't do it like the night before a race. When you're doing it, spread it out, like do it Monday, Wednesday and Friday. Don't try and do 3 days on the trot.
Sure.
It's far better just to allow you to recover,
Yeah.
like any other form of training.
Yeah.
I would just say not on consecutive days. Maximum about 3 times a week,
Yeah.
half an hour at a time, as long as the sauna is hot enough.
Yes.
The other thing is, it's not very nice doing it. I'm not saying I'm enjoying sitting in here being cooked at 45 degrees, but it's a short, sharp period of discomfort that I know will help me perform better in an event I've been training for months, if not years. So what's wrong with that? It's like saying doing your hardest hill session is not exactly nice. It's nice when you've done it. And same for this, it's lovely when you come out and you've done it.
So possibly you're getting at, if ultra runners don't like the idea of being uncomfortable occasionally, maybe they should think of another sport.
Well, yes, but this is not just ultra runners. I would say it's for anyone doing any race, and especially if they're a marathon runner. Yeah. But even for someone doing a half marathon in the middle of summer. But obviously anyone doing a marathon, yes, or ultras, yes, and in the summer months as well, whether it's in England or especially if it's in Europe.
Sure. Fair enough. And obviously we've talked about using this as a pre-race heat acclimatization method. If someone was using this while they're undergoing regular training, I assume you'd advise them to do a heat session after a run, not before.
Oh yes, they either do it on your rest day or do it after your run, because then you're pre-warmed, you're already nice and warm. And so you're enhancing the benefit of the sauna.
Sure.
But I mean, the sauna is very nice just as a relaxation anyway.
Yeah.
When I use it quite regularly, I usually have one a week or certainly one a fortnight, all year round, because I like it. It makes you feel good, helps your muscles relax, and it's just a pleasant. It doesn't always have to be as hot as this. You could put it in a slightly lower setting if you want.
Sure.
But I tend to leave it fairly hot.
Yeah.
And just poke my head out if I'm getting too uncomfortable. But yes, I mean, a sauna, as a general part of your rest and recovery program, is perfectly acceptable and pleasant thing to do.
Sure. And so just any last tips, like for example with a home sauna unit, if you can't get it hot enough, any other ways of increasing the temperature in there?
Well, as you see, with this I found, especially if I'm doing it in the winter, for example, say I'm going off to the Far East, and I'm trying to do this in, say, February. Yeah. Obviously, it's much cooler in this building we're in now. So that's why you see I've actually laid blankets and 4 blankets over the top of this. Sure. And that's just to enhance the insulation of the sauna. Sure. And whilst, strictly speaking, I don't need it in summer, I do it anyway just to make it a bit hotter. Right. But certainly, when it's winter and it's colder in here, then you do need it to keep because this is only a thin, plastic-lined box. Right. There's nothing fancy inside. So anything you can do to enhance the insulation, and the better.
So insulate it, wear a sweatsuit, or even just an old woolly jumper.
Well, I'm wearing just a t-shirt. Simply because some of the tags inside, some of these things get very hot. Right. And if they touch your skin, they'll burn you. So I just have it. I have long sleeves on just to prevent that sort of thing happening.
Yeah, I have known people with body piercings complain about using shoulders.
Yes, I think I would think twice before coming here if I had a body piercing, especially if it was in somewhere unmentionable.
Indeed. Fine. Well, thanks, William. In that case, then, I'll let you get to being an undercover agent again. And
Thank you very much.
good luck.
Good luck with your heat training.